Hi everyone and welcome to Pace Yourself. My name is Mia Pacey and today we're going to be talking about one of the hidden features of Salesforce that not many people are taking advantage of but will make your admin life so much easier. And what I'm talking about is called user access policies. So first, what are they? Well, think of them as like automating a process in Salesforce like flows, but instead we're doing it in setup. So instead of manually assigning things like permission sets, permission set groups, public groups, queues, the list goes on, every time you create a new user, imagine if that could be done for you. So Salesforce lets you define the rules so that access can be automatically provided based on this criteria. It's like teaching Salesforce to do your job for you when users get onboarded. So you can do things like, imagine if you got a new user and they got put into the sports department, and your Azure SSO link is what actually creates the users in Salesforce, and your admin role is to go in and connect and give them all the permissions they need and put the Federation ID in so SSO works, and then onboard them. But what if you could take advantage of that automatically creating of a user in a particular profile and then give them all the access for you, and you just have to check off and do the onboarding? So let's dive into what that actually looks like. So here are my users. You can see we're part of different profiles. On the left-hand side in your setup, you've got user access policies underneath users. If you don't see that, just click on user management settings, and it'll be down here as a toggle you can turn on. So just here, and it will turn on the one below it as well. That's all it is. It just turns it on. Not sure why it's not automatically turned on, because it is amazing. So let's dive into an example. Here we've got one called Sales Team. So the Sales Team has a user criteria. Let's open up to see what that actually says. It says when the profile equals the custom sales profile and the user is active, grant them three things: a permission set group called Sales Team, a group, which is a public group, called Sales Team, and then we're going to add them also to the queue of service case so that they can see what their accounts, for instance, if they have any services, or if they actually, it's part of their job. Super simple. So how do we create them? Well, they're based off multiple things, as you saw, and we've got a new one we're going to create, and we're going to do it for our marketing department. So all we do is type in all the fields. The order, this is at what order do they fire if you have multiple ones that will fire on the same person. So I like to, whenever Salesforce asks me for a numbering convention or a sort order, I will always go up by tens, just in case I need to slot one in between a few. I don't have to reorder everything. I can just put it in with increments of one. Okay, now we've created the actual housing of our user access policy. Now we give it what it needs to do. Up on the right, we go to edit criteria. In your define user criteria, this is what happens when. So this is the when. So you can see a few options here. You can actually start from, say, putting someone in a permission set or a permission set group, then roles on effect like licensing gets assigned or they get put into a group. But for this example, we're going to start at the top. We're going to start at profile gets assigned. And it's going to be our marketing profile. The second one is what about the user means that they will be included in this one. Safe to say, I want them to be included if they're active. But for instance, you could do things like the email is of a particular domain or the department was created in a particular domain. I would still recommend using the active just so you can make sure that everything gets created for only active people or it only affects active people. This is the what. So select what actions you want created. You only get two versions, grant and revoke. Revoke is quite powerful. Grant is the one we're going to use today. We're going to say grant them a permission set called marketing department. So the permission set group called marketing department is a nicely curated group of permission sets you've created over time that you know that department will always need when they're a user. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to say grant them a group. And the group, you've guessed it, is marketing department. But what else can we do? We can grant them things like permission set licenses, package licenses, groups, and queues. What can you do with revoke? You can do the exact same. No surprises there. So, I mean, it seems quite restrictive what you can grant, but these are the powerful things that open up things like sharing rules and record ownership or visibility and access to things like fields and record types or objects entirely. So these are really powerful if you get the things within the target very well done. So if you get your permission sets and your permission set groups nicely tied up on a bow, this will make your life so much easier. We're going to go ahead and click save. Now that what is in there, I can actually click that apply policy and it will do a retrospective look into your org and apply it to anyone that qualifies. So the automate policy is what we're going to use here. I want it to only run after a user is created. Particularly because if it ran when the user was created and updated, I wouldn't want it to then override the changes we've made to, say, their extra permission sets that we've given them based on this being too powerful. So I find it's probably the most beneficial when they're being created for the first time. But you can create one that's about when it's updated to meet a certain criteria. Just be really careful and test the actions and question if it's what's best for your org. I'm going to click on activate. So now this policy is active. I can't edit it anymore. I'd have to then deactivate it by clicking the same button. Not that hard. But let's go and test that one, shall we? Going back to my users, I'm going to create a new user. I'm going to put them in the particular profile we spoke about, so custom marketing. So I've created that new user, and now we will wait to see that permission set assignment happen. So I just refreshed my page and you can see the permission set group actually increased from 0 to 1. And there you have it. The permission set assignment called marketing department, which is the permission set group we wanted, was added to our user. So thank you for hanging around and I'll see you on the next one, but definitely get diving into these user access policies. They will save your time. Admins, you got this. See you on the next one.